Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of PunchDrunkCritics.com, and I'm here with my buddy, my pal, Chris Bumbray of JoeBlow.com. What up, Chris?
Hey Travis, how are you?
I'm good, man. It's been way
So
too
appropriate. We're talking about action movies.
That's why
Yeah,
one of the reasons I wanted to do this and not do like my typical like individual movie reviews this week. I wanted to have you on because I was on Channel 7, for my usual weekly segment this week, and I was
I'm about to go in for mine in Montreal.
yeah, and I was talking about how this past week has been really loaded up with
Yeah.
female-led action flicks. Started with Ready or Not 2 last week. You got Pretty Elite, Pretty Lethal this week, and They Will Kill You as well this week. And then you got a movie that kind of came out of nowhere, Mike and Nick and Alice opening this week as well. A lot of action-heavy stuff over the last week, and I was like, who better to talk about it than the guy
Well,
who knows more about action movies than I do? You, of course.
and then the Furious trailer dropped the other day.
There's trailer
I
drop, and
couldn't
I was
believe
like,
neither of us was quoted in it because we both
I
loved it so
know,
much, and we have
I
pretty
know.
reputable sites.
I was looking for one
Yeah,
of our
and they
names.
they quoted like no offense to the people they quoted, but they quoted like really niche kind of sites, and it was like we both nobody loved that movie more than we did.
I have a feeling that either one of us will get quoted somewhere down the line.
I hope so. I mean, but but man, yeah, that was. 'Cause I remember, I vividly remember seeing that with you at the TIFF press screening and the stuffy TIFF press screening, and
Yeah.
it was like high
I
fiving.
think Tim saw it twice.
Yeah.
I
Well, it
think,
was like
I think
that's the
Tim
kind
went a
of movie it
second
is.
time.
It's just you're having a rough time at the festival. You saw too many serious movies back to back. Throw on the Furious, and then whoa, I'm back.
Right. Exactly.
Like
Oh man, but yeah, this week is really, really loaded up with action heavy movies. A lot of female led stuff. I mean, we could have talked. I mean, Forbidden Fruits came out this week as well. A lot of female led
I
stuff.
didn't care. I didn't care for that.
I didn't like it either, but I liked. I mean, I liked certain things about it.
Well, yeah, me too, of course. But yeah, I was at that. I'll say this. I got really drunk at the party at South by Southwest.
Dude,
I don't remember chunks of the evening. People kept coming up
that's
to me the
that
next day.
seems
And they
like
were
a
like,
good party to get drunk at.
people kept coming up to me the next night, and they were
Did you
like,
make
"Hey,
a fool of
Chris, hey,
yourself?
wow, great time last
Did you
night."
make a
At the
fool of
party.
yourself hitting on Lily Reinhart or something?
No, she
I
had
would have.
security. I would have.
I
I felt like she never looked better than in that movie. But it was.
she's she's,
But
she's top
yeah,
five for me, so it's like
yeah.
I would have made a clown of myself if I was at the
I know,
party.
I know. Luckily, she had security around her, so I didn't come off as too much of an idiot. But I spoke to Victoria Pedretti for a while,
Ready? Yeah.
and I had a nice chat actually with Cassidy Freeman from the Righteous Gemstones. She was there, and we talked for a while actually, and Diablo Cody. So I did make and Lucas Gage. I was like, I have photos of him and I like broing out. Like I don't
Oh,
know what
yeah.
happened there. I was very drunk that night though. Like, I don't remember. Like it
Oh,
was I
man.
made a damn fool of myself. Anyway,
All right, well, let's get started talking about these. I know you have
sure.
things to do, places to be. I
Yeah.
have pajamas to put on and video games to play. So let's let's get started. Let's start with Pretty Lethal. And this one was interesting. It's directed by Vicky Jusin, and it stars Iris Apatow, Lana Condor, Melissa Simmons. One of my favorites right now, Avantika, who I think is great. And it's about a group of ballerinas
But
who.
you're forgetting the star. Who's the actual star of the movie, though?
Oh, it's oh God, why am I forgetting her name?
Maddie Ziegler. Maddie
Maddie
Ziegler. I
Ziegler,
mean,
which is
more
interesting
than
because I just
yeah,
talked about her because her sister Mackenzie Ziegler is in She Dances, which also
yeah.
came
Okay.
out this week, and I did interviews for that this week. So it's Maddie Ziegler. So
It's
and I'm
really,
glad
it's
in my
really
reviews.
her movie. The way I saw it, it's more like she's really the star
She's
of the film.
really
Her and Lana Condor.
right. She's the trained dancer of the
Yeah,
cast, and a lot of the action is ballet centric, which I thought was one of the really great things about it. But they're a group of ballerinas who get the bus breaks down, and was it Budapest? And they
yeah.
get caught up in a raggedy old bar full of gangsters. Basically, they witness a murder and they can't get out. They got to get out alive, and they got to fight their way out. And Uma Thurman runs the bar. A little disappointed that she didn't get some a little bit more action. Uma Thurman.
That was the one thing I didn't like about the movie.
Yeah, but I really love the style of it. I thought this movie was a
Yeah,
lot of fun. I thought the cast was fun. I wish some of the characters got a little bit, had a little bit more depth. But I thought that Ziegler and Condor were really great.
yeah.
Bontica is like I think she's, as she usually does, she steals it for me with her humor as she's
Yeah,
high throughout the entire movie. I thought this
great,
movie was
great,
a lot
great
of fun
comic
and
relief.
really, really well done.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It was, and the thing is, I didn't think I was gonna like it. I actually thought I was gonna hate it. Like I'm not really, I don't like it in action movies when like an 80-pound woman throws a guy across the room. It just
Right.
doesn't make any sense to me. But that's not what this is, though. This like, the thing is, I'm not saying that's necessarily realistic, but there's a concept that you have to buy into with this movie, like the way that they're fighting. And if you can buy into that concept, which I did, you'll have a really good time watching it. And it's that, they're flexible and they can withstand pain and they can
Right.
throw
This
kicks
this
and
isn't the
raise the
first
blades in their footwork.
this isn't the first movie to equate ballerina training with like fight training and like
But there's actual ballerina fighting in this
yeah,
movie,
there
though, which
is.
there
And but
isn't in
like
ballerina.
the
Yeah.
rigor that they put their bodies through makes them uniquely equipped to
Yeah.
withstand, fights against like multiple enemies.
Well, and it feels like an answer to Ballerina because it's David Leitch's company that did this one
Yeah.
versus Chad Stahelski's, and I feel like they have a feud or something like that going, and it's really like this feels like kind of the answer to that.
Are
But
they are they gonna make Ron Stick like their next hero?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be like it's just, but I really enjoyed it though, and it was Ziegler was great. It was kind of the rebellious one. Lana Condor was the bitch, and then they said, but then they, I'm a sucker for that in a movie when two people hate each other, then they become like bros by the time it's over, and then they're like high fiving. Like I've always a sucker for that when it's in a guy movie, and
and
I'm a
they
sucker for it when it's a girl movie too.
they kind of had their "you son of a bitch" moment too. Like
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the two
and
guys
I
who are
like
kind of
that premise.
yeah,
Like I like
kind of frenemies come together.
Yeah, I like that premise where like in the middle of like the fight they become like bros, and it was like I've always enjoyed that in a movie,
Yeah.
so it kind of worked for me. Like and it was quick. It was like under 90 minutes.
Mhm.
Like it's the kind of movie I could see doing really well on streaming because you could throw it on. It's a good time. It's really easy to watch. It's colorful. It's well directed. Um, some of the people that I was with at South by really didn't like that. They said that they found that Iris Apatow and some of the others, their faces were very clearly CGI'd on other people's bodies at times, especially for like the ballerinas. But I didn't really notice. Like that was, and the big fighting is really Maddie Ziegler and Lana Condor, and they did enough of their own fights that it sold me, especially Maddie Ziegler. So my only problem was that Uma Thurman, the whole pathos thing with her and that they didn't really get her in there into the fray is kind of a cheat, but otherwise I really enjoyed it. I had a total blast with it, and it was funny enough like the most successful review that I wrote at South by Southwest in terms of views. It did really well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's doing really well. This and the next movie we're going to talk about, Mike and Nick and
Yeah,
Alice
you
are
know.
doing extremely well because people are, not incidentally, they're both on streaming, but they're both
And
movies
then, but
that
then, like, no interest on They Will Kill You, though. That's the thing. Like, and they spent a lot marketing that movie, but I feel like there's very little interest in that, out there.
yeah. Well, we talked about that on Channel 7 as well. It was like
Yeah,
the host was like she hasn't really seen much on any of these movies.
yeah.
I didn't think there was a ton of promos for They Will Kill You. Like I saw, at least not here, there wasn't.
They did a
There were
big.
some towards the end that kind of rushed through it, but like over the last few months, there's not been much at all.
They did
So
a big push for it at South by, but the problem was it premiered right after Ready or Not 2, and it's the same
big
movie.
problem. And I said that going into my because they didn't even screen it here. It
Yeah,
opened cold here in DC, which is a
yeah.
problem. But
Having those open back to back was a real mistake because I think it
it's a
cannibalized
misfire.
both movies.
That's a misfire. Let's talk about the next movie.
Sure.
Mike and Nick and Alice. This movie
Now this should be
came out of
in
nowhere.
theaters. This should be in
I
theaters.
think you can make the case for all these movies being in theaters.
Yeah. This
But
one in
this
particular,
one's
though, I feel like this could have been a big hit movie.
for sure. Tell people what it's about because it's got an interestingly convoluted premise that
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't really play out that convoluted in the movie.
So basically, Vince Vaughn and James Marsden are gangsters, okay? But then what happens is Vince Vaughn sets up James Marsden to be murdered by their bosses. But then Vince Vaughn from the future, who feels bad about it, comes back to help them kind of get out of the situation because he regrets setting him up. But Vince Vaughn from 6 months down the line.
Yeah.
Because somehow there's a time machine. But but
That's
that was
the
I
thing I
bought
love
it though.
about
I
it is
got
that
into it.
the time machine is so like incidental to like to
It's like, oh
everything.
yeah, he built the time machine. And it's like, oh okay, yeah, okay, oh okay, yeah, all right, now I get it. Yeah, that was, and everybody just kind of accepts it, like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, yeah, time machine, yeah, no
You know what
problem.
this movie
But
felt like to me? It felt like
Ben Schwartz, he just put whips one
I know
together.
he just makes one day. It's just like I just got a time machine.
Yeah,
But it felt like well, I was talking about how the writer Ben David Grabinski
Rubinsky.
was a writer for Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and I said like the energy of the cast and the wild array of characters and the mixing of genres felt a lot like Scott Pilgrim, but it
Yeah.
also felt like the Happy Death Day movies to me, like kind of light and light sci-fi. You can mix up genres with it, and everybody you can tell everybody's just having a blast starring in it.
Well, and like pretty potent action too, like action that's
Oh
not a
yeah,
joke. Like the movie is a
Vince
comedy.
Marsden kicks ass in this. His character's named Quick Draw Mike, and
Yeah,
so he
I
kind
was
of
just gonna
carries
say
right. He kind of
Marsden could be like an action hero. He could do like a John Wick type movie because he looks
oh, for
amazing in
sure.
this movie and he does great in the fight scenes. Yeah.
It's good to see Vince Vaughn doing some of that stuff again too, and getting
Yeah.
back to the comedy stuff because even though he's not like he stopped working, but I felt like he kind of was kind of adrift for a while still, like trying to find like his place again. And I think this
It
is
feels like an old school Vince Vaughn movie, but with action.
yeah, I love the way he has to play two different versions of himself, one who's an a-hole and one
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
kind of resentful or regretful of the stuff he's done, and he plays off himself as well as he plays off Marsden and Eiza Gonzalez, who of course,
He does. And you kind of buy the evolution of like the present day Nick to realize that like, he's making a mistake.
yeah,
Right. And I think that was kind of one of the things that I liked
really
about the movie,
clever.
that it had heart.
Really clever in the
Yeah.
way they set that up. And
Because we
Eiza
do
Gonzalez,
things in our lives that we regret, and he's not an evil man. He's
right.
just somebody who got carried away, who made a couple really bad choices, and I liked that was a thing in the movie, and there's a redemption arc. There's great action. Some of the names are really fun, like Dumbass Tony and
Road
Roid
rage,
Rage.
right? Yeah.
And
I
then it
mean,
was,
the thing is that it's also interesting is that even though they're trying to he's trying to do a good thing here, they're all still kind of bad people.
well, yeah,
They're all
but
still
then,
they're all still gangsters. Even Isaac Gonzalez's character, who is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
who is having an affair with Marston's character with Mike,
Well, and then,
which
but
makes
the
which makes
guy,
the situation so much more fraught and tense in a
the
hilarious
guy,
way. Even she's
the
kind of a
guy,
bad person too. So it's just
the
like
guy, yeah, easy on the eyes though. But the guy,
this
yeah.
is we talked about the movies. That there's a lot to look at in all these movies.
Yeah, yeah. But
This
the thing about this movie though, the one who stole it though is Jimmy Tatro is so funny in this movie as
oh
like
yeah,
this
that's Tommy Boy,
dumbass, and then his dad is Keith David,
David.
and he's like, he's explaining to him how he's adopted, and it's so it's so good.
Stephen Root is funny in this too.
David Root is really funny. Keith David's funny too, though, and then like Louis Tan even has a kind of a funny part, and
Yeah.
and then there's a cameo in it that we're not going to spoil, but that really kind of brought the house down at South by. Um, but I had a blast. The music was great. They had great deep cuts. It starts
Oh,
with the
you saw they
deepest.
played the Blade opening music, right? At
Oh,
one
and they also played the reptile music from Mortal Kombat, and
the music was
but
really
then
silly.
they have that amazing Billy Joel, like the deepest of deep cuts for Billy Joel at the beginning of the movie, the song from Oliver and Company.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that
Yeah,
kind of like The Gorge for me last year. It came out on streaming early part of the year, and I remember it throughout the year, and it ends up on my best of the year list. I can
I never
almost
even saw
guarantee
The
you this is
Gorge.
going to be on my list somewhere.
Oh, me too. I had a better time watching this movie than I've had watching anything in a while. And it's just crazy to me though that something like this is being dumped. And like, I reached out to Hulu about doing the junket and they were like, sorry, no room. And it's like, but I haven't seen interviews with anybody anywhere, besides the usual suspects. So it's not like they're marketing it. And I spoke to the director on Instagram and it's like he didn't say anything, but it's just that, it seems like it's totally being dumped. And I don't know why, because I feel like a movie like this would have made quite a bit of money if they'd released it in theaters. Vince Vaughn is still pretty well known, and there's an older audience that is kind of underfed by movies like this. The frat pack type fans that would have gone to have seen it. Um,
I
Yeah,
have,
it's just very energetic, very fun.
I have a feeling this movie is going to get like a groundswell of support,
I
and
think
it's
it'll do
going to be
well on
a cult
streaming for
favorite.
what it is, but I just don't understand why it's not getting any theatrical play at all.
I think probably because they would struggle with how to promote it because
Yeah,
it is so many different things, and I think
yeah,
it's like they wouldn't quite know how to angle it. And
yeah.
I went into it honestly, really not knowing hardly anything about it. You
Me
know, like
too.
I knew like the basic plot, but this movie's so much more than that basic plot. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's hard. It would have been hard to promote. So I can understand it from a certain perspective, but I wish they would have put some effort into it because it's such a great movie. I'm
And it
hoping
made me want to
that word
watch
of mouth would
Gilmore
do it.
Girls.
What's that?
It made me want to watch Gilmore
Dude, the
Girls.
Gilmore stuff had me rolling.
And then and it had excellent cat representation in it too.
Yes, so much to like about this movie. All
I,
right,
I'm sure Nick Fury must have been pleased with that.
all right, let's start. Nick Fury is my cat. For those who don't know. All right, so let's wrap up with "They Will Kill You." This one stars Zazie Beetz as a ex-con who gets out of prison and goes to a posh New York hotel, high rise apartment. To rescue her sister, who she abandoned years earlier. She comes to find out that the place is overrun by immortal Satanists who sacrifice humans to the devil and all this kind of stuff. Kind of basically the plot of Ready or Not Two.
Almost exactly the plot of Ready or Not, and like the same like kind of femme forward type thing. You
Yeah,
can even have bring in a sister. Like it's so similar to the last to Ready or Not one and two
really
that
hurts
you
the movie.
think that like somebody must have plagiarized somebody, but it's just releasing two movies like that back to back is such a dumb idea. Like I don't know why they bothered. And I know you didn't love it, but I actually enjoyed They Will Kill You. I liked Zazie Beetz as the
She's
star.
great.
They made her a little too though, a little too unkillable. Like that was like I would have rathered, like it was she was a little too like an action star,
Yeah,
they really yeah.
yeah, I know. I see where you're coming from. Look, I love the opening 30 minutes of this movie,
Yeah.
where it's like more of a Hong Kong style action flick for a lot of the
Yeah.
opening moments of the movie. And I mean, I was watching with my fiance, and I was like, dude, I'm loving this right now. This is
Well,
great
and
right
it's
now.
all
And then
practical too. Like
yeah,
the
looks
flaming axe is
amazing.
a real flaming axe.
Zazie Beetz is she's legit action star. She wants to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah.
She's good in
Yeah.
Deadpool too. She's good in The Harder They Fall, and
Yeah.
she's really great and physical, and she can do the emotional bits too when they come around.
Yeah.
She's fantastic all throughout this. When the movie kind of swerves into horror slapstick
Yeah.
comedy, as it does, I think too much,
Yeah.
which is where it lost me. I think it drags down the energy somewhat, as
Right.
even though it gets super weird. I just thought it just didn't quite work as well.
Yeah.
She's still game for all of it, you know. And so I mean, I think she's fantastic, and I wish I liked the movie more all the way through.
No, you can't fault the performances. And even like I think the director is talented, Kirill, and it's just
Very
it just
stylish.
become yeah, it just
Looks
becomes
great.
too much at a certain point where you wish they had pulled back a little bit. And with the constant jokes, it's like, well, I'm trying to take this movie seriously,
Right.
and it kind of
Understood.
that kind of kills the tension.
Yep. The stakes are undefinable because I was like,
Because it becomes like a cartoon
yeah,
and she goes through so much in it that like I started to because they have a whole immortality storyline and it's like but she's suffering all these like fatal wounds and she's kind of just shrugging it off like that's the one thing they kind of don't do in the Ready or Not movies, but I had problems with Ready or Not 2 as well. I liked this one probably more than I liked Ready or Not 2 because I actually thought that was a big step down from the original. But it's funny. There was another one that I saw at South by that you'd probably like. Although it was funny because I didn't like the first two-thirds of it, but I liked the last third. It's Over Your Dead Body,
okay,
the Jorma Taccone movie. It's a
okay,
remake of The Trip with Jason Segel and Samara Weaving,
yeah,
and that also is an '87 North movie. But the thing about it is that the last half hour has a lot of like action, and it's like non-pros in action, like what would happen to a normal person, like fighting off people like hand to hand,
yeah.
and they did that really well, I thought. And it's and but it like it was almost too polished at a certain point
Yeah.
in They Will Kill You. But I mean, you can't fault Zazie Beetz though.
Yeah.
She definitely has what it takes to be an action heroine.
Why can't
It's
we
too
get a
bad.
movie that has the cast of Pretty Lethal and the cast of Ready or Not 2 and the cast of of They Will Kill You, like all the female leads just all doing one movie together, and just be like a super team of badass bitches taking out the patriarchy or something.
I might skip that one.
Fuck you, I want to see it.
I don't know, whatever. Sounds fine. I mean, I just feel like I've seen that movie before. But anyway, you know what? But I like her. I liked all the gals
Good to see
and
Heather
Pretty
Graham.
Lethal.
Heather Graham gets her head cut off like a
Interviewed
million
her,
times.
interviewed her, and interviewed Patricia Arquette, interviewed Zazie Beetz. Some of my favorites. They were all wonderful.
Very nice. I've never had a chance to
Yeah, yeah.
interview Heather Graham. I've always wanted to.
Oh my God. I mean, she's ageless too. She just doesn't
It doesn't
change,
look
right?
like
She
she's
looks the
aged at
same.
all.
No, and well, she like that character in the movie almost.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly. The
yeah, yeah.
eyeball thing in this movie is funny.
The eyeball
Like,
thing is really
but
cool. They gave us eyeball
also the point where I
keychains.
was like, I think this is going too far. Even though this is funny, I think this is like the point where it's going too far.
Yeah, it becomes like a cartoon at a certain point. I agree. I agree. But I
Um,
left her, she's tough, she has that edge to be an action star.
yep,
It's just maybe, she needs like the right vehicle, I think, probably.
yep. I agree. I'd love to see her in an '87 North movie.
Yeah, I think she'd kill it. I think she'd
Uh,
really, really do well because I mean she's very physically capable,
yeah,
so I think she'd be, she nailed the fight scenes in this one. I think she'd do really well.
totally. Somebody get David Leitch on the phone. It is him, right? Not Chad Stahelski, right? I always get them mixed up.
No, that's 8711, and they really don't like being confused because anytime you mention them in a story, I get an email. Anytime somebody mentions them and makes even the slightest mistake,
Yeah.
email
I made
every
it.
time.
You know what? That's true because
Gotten so many emails from both of those companies over the years.
there was one time where I think I said that David Leitch like co-created John Wick or something, and I got an
Oh,
email.
I know. They don't like that.
Yeah,
It was
I got an
Stahelski
email
doesn't
about
like
it like
that.
within an hour. Can you change this?
I know. Well, I think they fight over credit for that, and it's like it's,
It's so wild.
whatever.
It's so
I
wild.
know. Well, I mean, the fact that they 87 North and 8711, like that's so petty.
It's
You know?
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Oh man. Well, interesting group of movies. Most of them
Yeah.
really, really good. I would say all three of them. I mean, two of them I think I really, really love. One,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could watch a couple of great movies on streaming now too. Like you could have a good action double feature tonight with Pretty Lethal and Mike and Nick and Alice. Really
I
good double feature.
I really kind of want to watch both of those again. Honestly, I might do
Sure,
that.
they were both really fun. I'll definitely watch both of them again. I think and I like Prime Video what they're doing with their like kind of B action movies. Like
They've
keep
got the
that
market
going.
cornered. The Wrecking Crew,
Yeah.
Heads of State.
Yeah,
They got
keep
the
that
market.
going.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I totally agree. They need us to come in and like do some consulting
Yeah, for
on the
sure.
movies. They should.
They can make this the new canon pictures. Do American Ninja. I'm telling you, Channing Tatum, American Ninja would be great.
So before we go, I got I'm working with Tim on his film festival, and you know what movie I got for it?
Riverbend?
I got Riverbend.
Oh, nice. I want to see that. I really want
Yeah,
to see. I was talking to Robert Daniels about that.
I got
I
I got
really
a,
want
I
to
got
see
a
it.
link to it. I got a link to it.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. God.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I talked to
How is it?
I haven't watched it
Oh,
yet.
man. Because I
But I
just did a
talked to
video.
Sam. I talked to the guy who's been bringing the movie around the country, and I got Riverbend for the festival. So I'm pretty
Because I
excited for
just did a video about American Ninja and I was talking about Steve James in it, about how cool he was.
it.
And his daughter added me on Facebook and she's been promoting his movies a bit. And yeah, it's one of those things. Like if that guy had lived, you feel like he probably would have become like a star because he was very charismatic, but he died super young and super
So yeah,
fast of like pancreatic cancer and he went like that.
yeah,
It's too bad because he was always so charismatic in all of his movies.
totally.
Even the American Ninja movies, I always kind of thought he was a little more credible than
Yeah,
Dudikoff. Although I like
yeah,
Dudikoff as well,
exactly.
but it's like you're watching him in a fight scene, and it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, no, it's going to be part of the Light Rail Legacies
Oh, nice.
block, and
Yeah, Margaret Avery was in that too, right?
super
Riverbend.
pumped,
Yeah,
super
yeah,
pumped for
yeah.
that. So
Nice.
maybe it might be the biggest movie of the festival.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man. It's a canon movie.
I think so, isn't it? I think
Oh,
so.
that's so cool.
Yeah, really cool stuff.
I think it just got caught up when they went bankrupt, I guess, and it just was one of those movies that just never really saw the light of day.
Yeah, but I'm glad it's starting to get out there now.
Yeah.
You got anything going on at Joe Blow? You want to talk about real quick?
No, I mean, off to CinemaCon soon, and but if you go to the site, there's a new channel that we have that I really like called Loving the '80s, and a lot of my stuff is turning up there these days because the guy who runs it is pretty. We see eye to eye, I think, on a lot of movies. So I'm really going into like the archives. Like I did Vice Squad recently, and that did really well. Doing 52 Pickup one up today. I just did a video.
Nice.
I just did a video on Angel, and I'm working on Let's Get Harry next. Like a
Yeah,
really like
busy, man. You busy all of a
yeah, so
sudden.
writing a lot of shit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm happy. I'm looking out
Yeah.
for all that stuff. All that Loving the '80s stuff comes through on my feed too. So,
Oh,
uh,
it's great. It's a great channel. Chandra, the guy who runs, he's a good guy.
good stuff. Good stuff. All right, well, folks, that was a very special episode, action-oriented episode of Cinema Royale. I'm Travis Hobbs, and that is my homie Chris Bumbray. Go check him out at joebill.com. And you can find me, of course, every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. If you're in DC, you can find me on Channel 7 as well, and loads of other places. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.